Well, good afternoon to our webinar on regional policies for the industrial transformation. My name is Luc. I will be Luc Schmerber. I'm a thematic expert from the Smarter Europe Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform, and I will be co-moderating this webinar today with my colleague Mart, who's
Hi.
so with us. Hello, Mart, and we will have three speakers who have already joined us. I will introduce them later. Just a few words about the webinar. So it will last 1 hour and a half. It will be recorded. The recording is started, and it will be available then on our website. The recording together with the summary and the presentations of the speakers. You will receive the information also via email directly from the Zoom system. Today, to interact with us and to interact with the speakers, to ask questions in the webinar mode through Zoom, we will ask you to use the chat function to submit your questions. We will read them out then to the speakers. In the webinar mode, not only the speakers can really speak, allowed to kind of speak up and to get access to the microphone. So please use the chat. You can already use the chat to start testing it for those who are not so much used to Zoom, to say hello, say where you come from, maybe how many degrees you have in your places. I have 37 to offer. And we will ask, we'll have time for questions after each of the speech, and at the end, a short final round with our three speakers, depending on how much time we have left. I think that's it. In the background, my colleague Vladimir will also help us if there are any technical issues. So you can talk to us to the chat. Vladimir, you can see.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, Vladimir, for helping us. And before we go into the details of the content, actual content of our webinar, I will show you some slides about our program, about the policy learning platform, because it's not the policy learning platform services. We still have regularly in our events newcomers, and not everybody is involved in the project or has already used the services. So just a quick overview. But of course, I encourage you to visit our website to dig more into details. So Interreg Europe, the objective of Interreg Europe in general is to improve regional development policies. So I'm not going into details, but this is familiar to most of you, what we're talking about, regional development policies. And we do that, Interreg Europe does that with projects. This is something probably all know about Interreg projects. There are Interreg Europe programs, but there are plenty of other Interreg programs, and they fund projects. The specificity of Interreg Europe is that we have also the policy learning platform, which is there to exploit the results of the projects and to enable everybody within and outside the project to benefit from the results. So there is an active, let's say, exploitation of the project results. It is not just left to the projects, which are obviously also promoting their own results. How many projects do we have? 262. We cover, see as all those priorities of the cohesion policy, smart, green, social, which are priority. They cover 80% of the program, but also connected citizens and governance. So it's quite a lot of projects, large number of partners. And there will be no further funds for new projects. All the funds have been committed with the first three goals. It's also a specificity of Interreg Europe. It covers all Europe, and you can see 90% of the NUTS2 regions are represented in some ways in those projects. So it's a pretty broad coverage. And those projects, they produce good practices, they produce other results. You will hear today from pilot actions. And of course, there are all the experts in the projects. And this provides us the material for the platform services, which are open to all people, also outside the projects. So what are we doing? We group our services into what we call knowledge, where you can find policy solutions. So we have a good practice database. We have thematic publications like policy brief. We publish stories about specific achievements. And all of this is available on the website. We try to have people meet around some thematic topics. So this is what we're doing today in a webinar, but we also have on-site thematic events, on-site workshops. We are having first workshops in the new countries which joined the program, like Montenegro, Serbia, Moldova, and so on. And we also provide expertise or support, which is bilateral, so specific support to single regions through what we call peer reviews, matchmakings. I will come back to that shortly in my presentations, where any region, any local authority, regional authority can submit us a policy challenge, and we try to answer by leveraging, of course, the expertise in the community, in the projects, and the broader community. So this is the team who is doing that. Mart and I are not alone. There's around 20 of us. Because as you've seen, we cover with the program all those thematic topics from smart to governance. So we need a lot of people to do that, and we are working actively on promoting and keeping the policy learning platform alive. Some examples of the policy solution, which I mentioned, what you will find on the website, and here it's an extract a bit of the website. So if you go and click to policy solutions, you will find the good practices submitted by the projects, which are also reviewed and validated. So many of them, policy briefs related to different thematic topics, and stories, a lot of stories which address specific results of the projects, and the recordings of all the webinars. So I mentioned at the beginning, we record the webinar and the presentation, so you'll find a lot of information there. And as a follow-up of this webinar and some other events which was dedicated to industrial transformation, we are planning also to write later towards the end of the year a policy brief on the topic. So there will some of the outputs of the webinar will be there again, but also other input. Community, I mentioned it, our events, currently over 20,000 members, 15,000 organizations, which are, of course, they are not all active on the same level, but it's quite a powerful community, as we can experience all the time when we try to organize peer reviews. The events, you find them also on the website, the webinars and so on. So for instance, if you look at July, okay, we are entering summertime, you will find only the event today. If you look for September, then you would have more events. So regularly we have almost every week, or latest every second week, like a webinar in one of the priorities, not always the same, of course. I mentioned the expert support. Just getting a few minutes back to this one, policy help desks. Wanted to talk about the peer review services, especially, which are small projects, let's say, where we can try to address policy challenges over 2 days, policy challenges that are sent to us by a regional authority, a local authority, and we bring together 4 to 6 experts on site to discuss about this issue and to try to offer some ideas how to solve those challenges. The pictures displays here a peer review we had on the island of La Réunion, France, November 23. Gives an idea of the settings where we discuss those challenges with our experts and the local stakeholders, and of course also the group picture always. Any public authority, regional development policies can apply directly to our website, but there is a priority to non-project partners, because project partners have already a place where they can address their policy challenges. And we've done over 100 of those, as well as over 50 matchmaking sessions. Matchmaking sessions are similar to peer review, but in small. So it's reviews. It's not 2 days meeting on site, but it's 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours meeting online, work helping policymakers to get access to specific good practices. So we wanted to display this because it can be used by any of, especially the non-project partners. So it's a nice way to access to the expertise of the community directly for the benefit of your regions without having to wait for a webinar and so on, which is more generic and doesn't directly address your own specific challenges. So go to our website, the link is there, you will have the presentation. If you have questions to submit or get back to us, and we will answer your request. A very short introduction to the topic of today, because we have 3 interesting speakers. So we have different aspects in the industrial transformation. Our understanding is let's say the triple transition that is also discussed at European level, the digital transition, the green transition, but also the aspect of resilience and social, so the social transformation that has to be concerned. It also covers in our program the skills aspects, for instance. So this is a very broad topic, and not surprisingly, it is also a heavy topic in our project. So okay, there are the EU policies, but I just wanted to go to the project and to give you a quick overview. I'm not going into detail of the project, but it just to show that the topic is reflected in many projects and many subtopics. So here you have, for instance, a lot of series of projects which are exploring the issues of industrial transformation in the framework of the smart specialization strategies and how to improve them in relation to that. So here we have the Scholar project. Anders, one of our speakers, is related to this project. We have under the subtopic competitiveness, SME competitiveness for digitalizations, we have different projects to look at it from a sectoral point of view, and from the point of view of the twin transition, digital and green, like for instance the project Turbo, which is also represented here today in tourism. So we have different approaches to this topic. And we have also some project looking at it from another perspective, which is how to develop new sectors to accelerate the industrial transformation in the region. We don't have those projects with us today, but it's also an approach that we have. So just to summarize, those are basically I tried to put it into a limited number of topics. So the twin transition, social and economic resilience, green economy, circular economy, sustainable entrepreneurship, different aspects of the industrial transition in the Interreg Europe project. So we'll not cover everything today. We will more be focusing on the twin transition and the social aspect, the skills aspects, but we will have follow-up events. We've already had some peer review dealing with some of those topics. Like you can see here, you can have all access of all this information, the reports of those peer reviews also on our website. Events, we've had a workshop last year in Bilbao on industrial transition. We've dealt with the environmental, social, and governance related regulations and how SMEs can deal with that. That was not so long ago in May this year. The recordings are available, so you see we keep busy with the topic. Probably it's not the last time we discuss about it today, but no, I've used my time. We will have those 3 speakers who will speak. The first 2 will also has some national, regional approaches to specific sectors. Jan and Alessio and Anders will provide us with another approach, another tool, dealing with the skills needs. I would like you to mention that in policy today we have 3 male speakers in policy learning platform Inter-Europe in general. We put a strong attention to have also already balance, especially gender balance in our speaker. We had a female speaker also on the agenda, but the EDA needed a short term to get replaced. So today we only have three male speakers. We are happy to have each of them, but just to mention that we tried to also to follow those rules we applied to himself, but it didn't work out today. And I think it's time now that we pass the word to them. I've talked long enough, and the first of our speakers will be Ian, who will explain about the airline strategy for a sustainable agri-food sector. So Ian, the word is yours. Vladimir will share the presentation and you can start.
Luke, thank you very much, and thank you for this opportunity to present at today's webinar. Thanks, Vladimir. So Food Vision 2030 is the latest stakeholder-led strategy for the Irish agri-food sector, and it aims for Ireland to become a world leader in sustainable food systems. Next slide, Vladimir, please. Yeah, brilliant. So it's the latest in a rolling series of 10-year stakeholder-led strategies for the Irish agri-food sector. And the Irish agri-food sector has benefited. Sorry, if you could go back if possible. There we go. Thank you. The Irish agri-food sector has benefited from an approach to the strategic planning through the development of these 10-year stakeholder-led strategies. Beginning in 2010, these strategies have ensured that the sector has a coherent stakeholder-led vision and strategy to underpin the sector's continued development. So the significance of these strategies really lies in the fact, sorry, Vladimir, if you could go back. Yeah, brilliant. So the significance of these strategies really lies in the fact that they were developed and agreed in a spirit of consensus by a cross-section of the sector itself. And in this way, it gives the strategy real power when it comes to being successfully implemented. Next slide, please. So what was the process in creating this latest strategy? A 32-member stakeholder committee was formed and chaired by Tom Arnold. Tom Arnold was the previous chief economist here at the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine, and is now a public policy advisor with particular focus on sustainable food systems and nutrition. So the members of the committee were drawn from a very broad cross-section of the sector itself and included representatives from the various subsectors, including the main farming and fishing organizations, the food and drink industry, and the state agencies involved in the sector, including the Environmental Protection, the Food and Safety Authority, CHAGAS, our national education, research and advisory body for agriculture, academics from spheres in the areas of climate, environment, health, nutrition, and others such as in the areas of finance and ag tech. So a broad range of representatives on the committee. So their terms of reference were to outline a vision and key objectives and actions to ensure the economic, environmental, and social sustainability of the sector to 2030. The committee held 13 meetings, which was facilitated by the Secretariat, or this department, which drafted discussion papers and organised for expert presentations on a variety of themes to the committee. So to agree the strategy, it required compromise by the members of the committee, and this meant accepting synergies where they exist between the environmental, economic, and social sustainability aspects, but equally accepting there can be trade-offs between these. Sorry, if you go back, Vladimir, thank you. So the work of the committee was informed by extensive public consultation and an open policy debate, which was undertaken in the summer of 2019. Further informing the work, I suppose, of the committee was the undertaking of a strategic environmental assessment and appropriate assessment, which are requirements for policies that might have an effect on the environment on a national scale. So thanks to the public consultation, open policy debate, the strategic assessment and the appropriate assessment, over 100 additions were made to the final strategy, which was approved by government and launched in August of 2021. Next slide, please. So there are two distinguishing features of this latest strategy that distinguish it from previous strategies. And firstly is that the stakeholder committee agreed that the strategy will take a food systems approach. So this is a notable change at international level. In recent years has been the focus on food systems and a connection with nutrition, health, and the environment. And the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization defines a sustainable food system as one which delivers food security and nutrition for all in such a way that the economic, environmental, and social basis to generate food and nutrition for future generations are not compromised. So the second distinguishing feature is that the strategy takes a missions approach, similar to what you might find in a research area, and move to a more challenge-focused missions that cut across multiple policy areas and ensure that people and organizations aren't working in individual silos. So it's considered that these both provided a good overarching framework on which to develop the strategy, and as such were adopted. Next slide, please. So here we can see the vision statement for the strategy. The stakeholder committee agreed on a vision statement for the strategy, and as we see in the food systems approach comes through strongly in the vision statement. It is long, but it contains a number of key elements. And the first is that Ireland will become a world leader in sustainable food systems over the next decade. And this will deliver significant benefits for the Irish agri-food sector, for Irish society, and for the environment. Secondly, the Irish agri-food sector will meet the highest standards of economic, environmental, and social sustainability, and this will provide the future competitive advantage for the Irish agri-food sector. Thirdly, by adopting an integrated food systems approach, Ireland will become a world leader of innovation for sustainable food and agricultural systems. This is all while producing safe, nutritious, and high-value food. And finally, the vision statement sets out for the protection and enhancement of our natural and cultural resources, while contributing to our vibrant rural and coastal communities and the national economy more broadly. Next slide, please. So we can see here, these are the four missions of Food Vision, and we can see that the four missions are connected in a circular fashion. And this is signified that they are interlinked and interdependent. So these four missions, which I'll talk through shortly, are underpinned by a series of goals and actions. In total, 22 goals and 218 actions. So it's important to note that the themes of the missions were chosen as they were considered to best address the opportunities and challenges facing the sector in the decade out to 2030. Next slide, please. So just to bring you through each of the four missions, the title for Mission 1 is Climate Smart, Environmentally Sustainable Agri-Food Sector. And Mission 1 has 7 goals and 61 actions. And it's the most defined set of targets of any of the missions. And this is partly a reflection of the, I suppose, more quantitative nature of the goals in this mission, but it's also a response to requests by the committee members and from the public consultation that I previously mentioned, their submissions to have more quantifiable and ambitious environmental targets within this latest strategy. So many of the targets are from this department's Identifies, a national climate and air roadmap, but with the overall goal for Mission 1 being a climate neutral food system being developed by 2050, with verifiable progress achieved by 2030, encompassing emissions reductions, carbon sequestration, air and biodiversity, and water quality improvements. Next slide, please, Vladimir. So the title for Mission 2 then is Viable and Resilient Primary Producers with Enhanced Wellbeing. This latest strategy puts more emphasis on primary producers than previous strategies. And Mission 2 focuses primarily on their economic and social sustainability. As we can see here, there are 4 goals within Mission 2, but it's underpinned by 78 actions in this mission. With the overall goal in Mission 2 is to improve the competitiveness and productivity of primary producers while improving their economic and social sustainability. Next slide there, please. The title for mission 3 is Food which is safe, nutritious, appealing, and trusted and valued at home and abroad. So this mission, as we can see here, has 4 goals and has 37 actions underpinning it, including to prioritize coherent food and health policies, to deliver improved health outcomes, to enhance consumer trust in our food system, and to provide evidence of a safe, ethical food supply, to create value add in food through insight, innovation, and product differentiation, and to develop market opportunities at home and abroad. So I suppose the strategy also aims for an integrated food systems approach to food and health policy, and proposes that the issue of food and health policy should be brought to a new level of political and policy importance. That is a whole of government and whole of society approach. Next slide, please. And finally, Mission 4, the title of which is An Innovative, Competitive and Resilient Agri-Food Sector Driven by Technology and Talent. So this mission, as we can see here, has 7 goals and 33 actions, and it can be seen as the enabling mission for the delivery of the other missions, because the 7 goals here are very cross-cutting in nature. And this includes the move to more challenge-focused innovation system, implementing a strategic approach to funding research, development, and innovation, developing a dynamic knowledge exchange environment, enhancing the use of technology and data, maintaining, improving competitiveness and resilience, while attracting and nurturing diverse and inclusive talent. Next slide, please. So now that I've brought you through the 4 missions, we must ask how these missions will be monitored and implemented. So the success of any strategy really lies in the monitoring and implementation that is undertaken. And in this strategy, there are 4 key elements of the monitoring and implementation, which I'll talk through now. Next slide, please. The first component is working in partnership. And this highlights the importance of all stakeholders in the chain. And it calls for the need for more bottom-up and public-private partnerships, including in the area of financing. While it also addresses the need for greater dialogue and partnership, building on initiatives such as Farming for Nature, but also engaging better with children and students. The second component outlines the key monitoring indicators and targets for the 4 missions, and refers to a more detailed implementation plan that was published just after the strategy was launched. The third area on environmental monitoring, reviewing and reporting includes many of the recommendations from the Strategic Environmental Assessment and the Appropriate Assessment, as I previously mentioned, and also sets out the detailed framework for how the Environmental Working Group will operate. The fourth and final area is around monitoring implementation, and this sets out the framework for the Food Vision High-Level Implementation Committee, chaired by the Minister for Agriculture, Food and Marine, with senior management from this department. State agencies, including Board BIA, our Food Promotion Board, Board Schmerber, which is our Fisheries Board, the Environmental Protection Agency here in Ireland, Enterprise Ireland, which promotes commerce in Ireland, and the Food Safety Authority of Ireland, as well as other government departments sitting on that committee. But the committee meets at least quarterly to drive delivery of priority actions and the monitoring of progress across each of the 4 missions under Food Vision. Next slide, please. So this is our latest annual report. If this presentation was a couple of weeks later, we'll have the latest annual report for 2024, but unfortunately I can just present the front cover for the 2023 annual report. But this was launched by the Minister for Agriculture last year, and it took place at the 11th meeting of the High-Level Implementation Committee meeting. Next slide, please. So this is just to give you an overview of the structure of the monitoring that was undertaken. So the overall results contained in the 2023 annual report can be seen here, but we do have the 2024 annual report results, which will be released shortly. But I do have the results here with me. And I suppose in terms of overall progress, out of the 218 actions, 79% of the actions have been complete, or substantial action has been undertaken, with only 21% of actions are commenced and progressing, with no actions yet not commenced under the strategy. So significant progress has been made in the strategy in the last number of years. So the implementation process allows us, as we can see here, to track progress on a mission-by-mission basis under each of the 4 missions. While the monitoring process allows us to examine areas where progress is not being made and to allow adjustments be made where necessary. Among the key achievements, I suppose, as listed below, include the development of Ireland's National Forestry Programme, the new National Horticultural Strategy, the new National Fertiliser Database, the new National Geotyping Programme, and the achievement of Irish grass-fed beef as a protected geographical indicator. Next slide, please, Vladimir. The latest development for Food Vision is the Food Vision dashboard. This was officially launched by the Minister for Agriculture, Food and Marine, Mart in March of this year. And it was developed to display the trends across a range of environmental, social, and economic indicators, as outlined in Food Vision. So here we can see the landing page for Food Vision, with tabs for the Food Vision Annual Progress Report, key indicator progress under each of the 4 Food Vision missions, and the monitoring of the strategic environmental assessment indicators is also captured under this dashboard.
I included the link to the dashboard in the chat, so then people can have a look if they want to have a look on the dashboard.
That's great, thank you, Luke, and I would encourage people to check out the dashboard. Just the next slide there, please, Vladimir. So just to give those, just next slide if possible, Vladimir.
Sorry, it's opening the link every time. Just let me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So just to give people an overview of the dashboard, here we can see, I suppose, the food waste report in the dashboard as captured under Mission 1 of Food Vision. So in terms of the layout of the dashboard, and this is the same layout for the range of indicators that are captured in the new dashboard. We have a background text box on our top left, which sets out how or where this I suppose target sits within Food Vision, where the data has come from, and a link for further information should people wish to gather further information on food waste. In the bottom left, we have a navigation pane which sets out the units and I suppose how people can drill down further into the data that is presented. In terms of the data on this particular dashboard, we have a pie chart which represents the percentage share of food waste in the value chain. Below that, we have on the bottom left, we have a bar chart which sets out the food waste by tons across the different sectors. On the top right, we have a timeline of the food waste trend over time, and our target out to 2030 is the dotted line. And finally, on the bottom right, we have our year-on-year change in food waste trends. So we can, it's quite a comprehensive dashboard, and it's the possibility to drill down further into the data with year-by-year selector and different sectors as well. And then I think on to my second last slide, if possible. Brilliant. So the next steps for Food Vision and the Food Vision dashboard, as I previously mentioned, our Minister for Agriculture, Martin Hayden, launched the Food Vision dashboard in March of this year. The second phase includes the economic and social indicators, which were developed and launched only last week. And these included the high-level requirements of the developing of Mission 2 indicators, including family farm income, age profile, and isolation risk indicators. Under Mission 3, we have indicators including the enhanced food safety, animal health and welfare, and emission 4 indicators, including the level of private research and development and promotion of food and nutrition security. So in terms of updating the dashboard, it's fully intended to keep the dashboard updated at all times. And with data sources, be updated with 2024 data and final 2022 and 2023 data to be included where appropriate. This is to just, I suppose, acknowledge that there are delays in data reporting to the department from other agencies. For development of data sources will be undertaken through the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine's internal and external data sources and data partners. And ongoing annual and biannual updates will be undertaken of the dashboard. And just, I suppose, for security in terms of data, the data will be maintained on the Department of Agriculture, Food and Marine Logical Data Warehouse. And just the last slide, please, Vladimir. So that's my presentation. Just want to thank you all for your time. All the information related to the strategy, the implementation plan, our annual reports can be found on the Food Vision section of the department website, and I believe a link to the dashboard has been included in the chat should anyone wish to access that.
Yeah, that was one of the first questions we got. Sarah Levesque, who asked if you could send the entire strategy, but as you mentioned, and everything is available on this link. I've linked them also in the chat, so all the material is available. We can take one or two questions. Went a bit over time, but I think it was interesting because I've rarely seen such a comprehensive approach to the sector and transformation approach. It's a very transparent, very comprehensive, including the dashboard when able to follow the progress. So please, send your first question to the chat, and we can take a few, and then can get back to Ian towards the end of the webinar.
Yeah, thank you also from my side. I see that some questions are coming in the chat. So, but first, also, like, it was very impressive to see how multi-stakeholder or multi-agency your strategy is, that you were able to bring in the health authorities as well as the environmental authorities. I think that's not always a given to have so many different agencies collaborating. So well done. And of course, the dashboard is also wonderful for let's say data-led policymaking, right, and planning interventions. But we have a question from Sarah, and she's asking, like, how do you arrange cooperation with consumers?
A very interesting question. I suppose in terms of consumer input, that is part of the public consultation and the open policy debate, which took place at the construction of the strategy. This would have been the summer of 2019 and would have fed into the results of which would have fed into the development of the strategy by the committee. So those, I suppose, the public consultation, there would have been a wide range of submissions, both by public and industry bodies, and they would have been closely analysed in the construction of the strategy.
I might just add to that. Sorry, my name is John Clark, so I work with Ian on the monitoring implementation of Food Vision, the strategy. So we also have continued the collaboration approach to Food Vision with the establishment of a number of groups. So Ian mentioned the High-Level Implementation Committee, which is chaired by the Minister of Agriculture. He also referenced the Environmental Working Subgroup. But in addition to that, a number of other subgroups have been established. Food Vision Dairy Group, Beef and Sheep Group, a Tillage Group, a Pig Group, an Industry Group. So these have continued on the collaboration with stakeholders, and that approach has continued on, and that's sort of the main way I suppose we engage our stakeholders on an ongoing basis.
Thank you for the answer. And maybe I can also ask, because this, as you explained, Ian, that this Food Vision 2030 is a gradual development of all the other strategies you've had in the past. And considering today that the topic also is on industrial transformation as such, and Luke was framing it around digitalisation and sustainability and resilience, or the social side, did you see in your strategy that something became a bigger focus in the latest iteration? So are there some mission aspects in the missions that really tackle a specific aspect? Like that's a new trend that you see also in the European policy level. It's also reflected in your local policy.
Sorry, the connection broke up there a little bit. What was the question?
The question is, do you see like what is considering these areas of industrial transformation that Luke was talking about initially? So digitalization, twin transition, also the social resilience. Is any of these featuring, I don't know, more prominently now in the latest iteration of the strategy compared to since 2010 when you started with these different strategies?
Well, in terms of industrial transformation, the strategy takes a food systems approach, which is a new, I suppose, way of balancing the three pillars of sustainability, and this hasn't been done in such a way in previous strategies. I suppose the strategy puts that balance for environmental, social, and economic sustainability in a new light, and brings that to the fore then as well in terms of the promotion of I suppose agri-food exports from Ireland. We are I suppose large export focused industry in Ireland, with 90% of dairy and beef produce exported from Ireland around the world. So sustainability has been I suppose key to the development of this latest strategy.
Thank you, Ian. I'm looking a bit at John. Did you want to complete? Or?
No, I think Ian has covered it there. So it's about balancing, I suppose, the three aspects of sustainability. So Ian has covered it there. So
thank you. Probably there would be additional questions. I need to have a look at the time and give all the speakers the similar time for presentation. But I mean, this is like usual. Our webinars are just the beginning. Of course, there is the material on the website. There are the contact details. You can reach out probably to Ian and John if you want to know more in the framework about the strategies and the website, of course. I suggest, so thank you, Ian, for this. We'll get back to you towards the end of the webinar if we have a few minutes to take some additional question. And I would now like to move to Italy and ask Alessio to take the floor. Alessio.
Hello, with pleasure. So good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for your invitation. I'm referring to the Interreg Europe staff. We are very happy to be here presenting our good practice from market region in Italy. I'm gonna share my screen for this purpose. So can you see my screen? Can you confirm? Is this in full presentation mode?
Just waiting. Yes, it's fine.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. So first of all, my apologize because I mean Ida, which is my director, is not present today. So I mean I'm not balancing the male-female ratio of the call, but you know, I mean what to do. She called me and I couldn't say no. So I hope I will be in any good. I mean for you. In my intervention, I mean I thought at the beginning to shift a little bit the focus of the intervention in the sense that I'm gonna present two good practices from the market region related to the tourism sector. You see them above my name on the bottom part of the slide. So the first is fostering the twin transition tourism operator, and then funds for tourism SMEs to improve the sustainability and digitalisation. The two practices are both focused on the twin transition of tourism operator SMEs working in the market region. But of course, in order to have those practices implemented, in order for us to identify the needs of the sector, we needed to implement a set of preparatory actions that I'm gonna share with you in order to show the full framework of initiative and policies that we put in place. And then the two practices that I'm going to present is just the arrival point of this process that we put in place. I think it's very important to have present the whole framework of policies and practices. I'll try to be quick. So first of all, let's put Marche on the map because I know that maybe not every one of you knows where we are. So we are in the center of Italy. On the eastern part is marked in red in the image that you see on the left of the slides. We are facing the Adriatic Sea. You see the whole region here highlighted on the right side of the slide. We have an homogeneous territory in our region with small cities. The biggest city is Ancona, which has less than 100,000 inhabitants. We have this cone shape, so a set of rivers starting from the mountains, that is of course in the inner part of the region, and then going through the hills, and then going to the sea. I'm based by the seaside, so I'm a happy and lucky one, especially in this moment. And so, but just to say that there are different territorial areas and different kind of tourism we are offering to the visitors of our region. The most visited one is the coastline of Marche region. Its length is 180 kilometers. We have several blue flags, 19 blue flags. Those are certificates for the one who are not familiar with that. Those are the certificates of excellence in the beaches. The flags are given to places in which there is cleanness of sea, cleanness of beaches, but also services for tourists and families. So they all together are measured, and the best places are awarded with the blue flags. We have 19 in the region. As you see from the picture, they are throughout the entire coastline of the region. But then also we have, of course, the inner part of the region that is very interesting on the touristic point of view, because we have hills, villages, and mountains. So there is the cultural heritage, like for instance, I'm mentioning here Urbino, which is part of the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage, but it's just one of the villages that we have, which have very important cultural heritage, very attractive for tourists. We also have, of course, rural communities, those typical Italian little communities, like warmly welcome all the tourists with their own tradition, with their folklore, with their also recipes, which is a very important attraction here in Italy. So I'm mentioning here the gastronomy, food and wine, and the craftsmanship. It's particularly referring to our region, the craftsmanship. So we are specialized in shoes, for instance, for the ones who care about them, for women in particular, they're particularly interesting. But also we propose environmental tourism, walking, biking, but also skiing in the mountains when there is snow, which is now not absolutely the case. And then the slow life in general, this Italian typical slow life, is very represented in our region. Some numbers to give you an understanding of what our tourism offer is. We are not among the top scoring locations in Italy, but still we are doing pretty okay. So in 2022, we registered an increase in the number of tourists compared to the pre-COVID area, which is an important result for us because, as you know, COVID affected us, has affected the whole Europe and worldwide. Same for number of nights spent in tourist accommodation. We registered quite an increase. But then I'm highlighting here a specific factor of our tourism, the fact that 85% of it is a national tourism. So we definitely need to increase the international numbers, and we need to present probably our region to the international tourist market. These are some, critical factors that we spotted in 2021 in relation to our tourism sector. So we see an excessive fragmentation of tourism offer, in the sense that we have several, tourism operators in several parts of the region, but they are not sufficiently connected. We need to promote the Marche brand more on international markets, as I mentioned before. We also need to deseasonalize the tourism flow, in the sense that most most of the tourism come to us in summer. So this is the peak of the season right now. But then we have also some opportunity to attract tourists on other seasons. So we need to push a little bit this tourism offer in other season of the year. And then we need to rebalance the tourist flows from the coastal areas to the internal areas. And also we need to foster a digital and green transition of the tourism sector. We have seen during the COVID, but also in the recent tourism trends, the digital innovation and also environmental responsibility are seen much more as tourist attractions all over the world. So the people want to see them. They want to see innovation, and of course, digitalization of tourism offer help attracting more tourists from all over the world. So in relation with those priorities that I just mentioned to you, we have implemented in the last 5 to 10 years a few initiatives that I'm gonna present to you very briefly, that you can see here in summary. So let's start from the first initiative, the OTIM and CATIM. So in order to counteract fragmentation of the tourism offer and also to foster the synergies among tourism operators in the region, but also the dialogue between them and the regional authorities. So we issued as a regional authority a call to establish databases of tourist operators. This is called OTIM, but also of tourist associations, Confederation of Incoming Tourists based in Marche region. So we have two databases, OTIM and CATIM. OTIM are individual operators, CATIM are association organization. We established these two databases, and then from the establishment in 2014, we started regularly meeting with them. The regional authority regularly called for database altogether call in order to take from tourism operators that are working on the territory the needs, the challenges, the requests that they are having to improve the tourism offer of the region, and on the other side, in order to communicate to tourism operators the initiatives and policies that the Marche region is putting in place in order to foster the tourism ecosystem in the region. This dialogue was established in 2014 and continued throughout the years. And thanks to this dialogue, we were able to implement a number of tourism offers, so to present and to propose to tourists coming to Marche region, tourism offers that are implemented in synergies by tour operators based in different parts of the region. So the first is the Inside Marche Life. I'm presenting just 3 examples here, but there are several of them. First of them is called Inside Marche Life. It's called Inside Marche Life, and this means, something is happening. So those are tour operators based in the inner part of the region that are proposing tour packages, including itineraries throughout different regions, different locations within the inner part of the region. The second part is about active tourism. So they are Marche Active Tourism. Those are a number of operators that put them together and are proposing packages, including a set of activities that you can do in the open air, in the hinterland, once again, of the region. So biking, walking, etc., etc. The third part is about Marche Outdoor. Once again, they are focusing on cyclism, and they are putting online a set of maps in showing different itineraries throughout the region. So the tourists can download by themselves the maps and can, take their own destination, their own route within our regional territory. This is already one first result that you can see. But then another improvement that we try to put to our regional ecosystem is the market destination management system. This was awarded as a good practice by the Interreg program. This is an initiative coming by the Italian Ministry of Tourism that after the COVID crisis, made use of some of the funds that were awarded to us through the PNRR initiative, plan of national resilience and resistance. And then we try to use this initiative to digitalize basically our tourism offer and systematize it basically. So the Ministry of Tourism organized a national destination management system and asked all the Italian region to fit the system with information about events and tourism offer in their own region. Thanks to the ODIM and CADIM database that we built 10 years ago, we were able to contact all the tourism operators that are present, active in the region at once, basically, and to spread these opportunities to them, also by organizing a periodical call trying to explain this initiative of the National Ministry of Tourism. So we got a very good interest. We got a lot of interest from tourism operators that reacted pretty quickly. So we managed to send a lot of information from our region to the National Destination Management System that helped us to systematize this information, to organize them. And so nowadays we are able to present our region and the tourism offer of our region in clusters, basically, in thematic clusters. You can see some examples at the bottom of these slides. So there are beautiness, small towns, nature, etc., etc. And also the events that we are promoting in our regional territory are going to a national calendar, so the tourism can make their own itineraries based on the events promoted by different cities in different regions, and they can see all the information in relation to these events in one calendar that are hosted by the Italian Ministry of Tourism. Also, the national ministry has connection, a lot of like information channels at international levels. So all the information we are providing goes to the international tourism market. And so this is helping us a lot presenting our region in the international markets. Through the DMS, you can also book your tickets to the show and also book your accommodation and services like bikes that the tour operators are offering in these different destinations that we have a regional level. I'm going pretty quickly because there's a lot of information I want to give you, so I'm sorry for that.
Alessio, we are already running
out of time. I'm gonna go
maybe a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, because it's
okay.
There is a lot of information, but
couple of minutes more. So this is the first initiative we issued through the destination management system. Just to say, the first it's written mare and montagna, so it's sea and mountain. So we are trying to propose a synergic tourist offer, combining the two different type of tourism that we have, sea and inner part. This is another part. In order to be able to present the inner part of the region to the tourism international market, we had to raise the quality of the tourism services and accommodations as well. So the region started issuing public call, financing or co-financing with tourism SMEs the renovation of their facilities. SMEs work, especially those working in the inner part of the region. So we are co-financing facilities promoting cultural resources of the inner part of the region, or facilities promoting slow and eco-sustainable tourism, or facilities specializing in hosting work meetings through like improving their digital services. Okay, so it's just a co-financing of the region to improve the service there. And this Bando Borg is a similar initiative, basically. So we are trying to raise the quality of tourism offers offered by the Borghi, which are the small villages in the inner part of the region. Also, we are trying to get some more labels of quality, like the UNESCO World Heritage Site Urbino, or UNESCO Creative Cities, or Borghi più belli d'Italia, most beautiful towns of Italy, or orange flags marking excellence of tourist service in towns with less of 15,000 inhabitants. Finally, Turbo Project is an initiative of funded by the Interreg program. We are funding vouchers to tourism SMEs in the region to implement innovation services in their locations, basically, to foster the twin transition of their services and facilities. We awarded, I'm skipping this part, we awarded so far 5 companies that have implemented and presented some projects together with experts international experts to foster the twin transition of their services. So there are right now projects being implemented in the region by tourism operators that are implementing a AI platform for tailor-made thematic tourism itineraries, or repositioning B&B, like fostering their sustainable and digital services, or one transforming a meal into a model cutting-edge experiential tourism. Of course, those are specific experience, but at the end of this experience, we are building up a booklet trying to disseminate this experience throughout the region in order to inspire further tourism operators to increase the twin transition of their services and companies. As a partial result of those initiatives, and this is my last slide, we are registering a variation in the tourism flow in the region. In particular, the international tourism tourists are getting more and more to Marche region. We have a 4% increase in the international flows of tourism in the region compared to 2022, which is an important result according to us, because it's not a big amount of time. It's quite an important increase for our region. This is it. I'm sorry if I was a bit long, but I'm still Italian, so I like to speak.
Yeah, wanted to actually to let you more time to discuss about the voucher, and which was the thing we wanted also to focus on. But I understand you have a lot of things, which is a very comprehensive strategy also. Mart, do we have some questions that we can take through the chat, or just one or two questions to Alessio before moving to Sweden? Okay, my colleague Mart has disappeared, it seems.
Just a moment.
Alessio, okay.
Can you hear me?
Mart?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you. That's fine.
So I cannot see the chat. Yes. I cannot see the chat, unfortunately, because I was disconnected for a moment and the chat history is gone. But I had a question from my side about the size of the vouchers that you offer in Turbo. Because that's normal. Often people ask about it.
Yeah. So I'm happy. Thanks for the question, because I can go back to this slide that I skipped. So the voucher scheme has a very specific functioning, the one that we are piloting through the Turbo project. So basically, it's the following. There are 4 steps that I highlighted here. The first, we have, first of all, build up a database of knowledge providers. Those are experts in the twin transition of tourism operators. It's an open call that we issued at European level. We have a networking of partners that help us issuing this call and spreading it in their national contexts. So we managed to get 53 knowledge provider in the database. So 53 experts offering services to tourism companies. Already, this is an important piece of information, because already in this database, we are providing all the companies in the region examples of services that they could implement in order to foster the twin transition of their services and facilities. So this is already quite a result for this voucher scheme. But then we also issued a further call for innovation projects. This was targeted to regional SMEs, tourism SMEs. They could have built up their project together with one expert in the database, okay? And the awarded project would have been awarded with a voucher of 10,000 euros from the region. So we invested in this call an amount of 50,000 euros. We got 12 proposals, not much of them, but still a lot of interest from tourism operators. Just 12 because it was difficult, the connection with international knowledge providers, because also the language skills in our region are still lagging a little bit. It was an innovative scheme, so just 12 proposals, but they were very good quality. So we awarded in this first call just 5 proposals, because we wanted to check how the process will go. But then we are already seeing that there is good results. So the region already decided to refund a second call. And so a further 5 proposals were funded. So we are investing 50,000 euros more to fund 5 additional projects. The 50,000 euros are now taken from the European Regional Development Fund. while the first 50,000 were awarded by the Turbo budget.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Alice. So this was, we wanted also to hear about that. We'll be following that and the results of those because we will keep in connection with the Turbo project to see what comes out. It was from our perspective interesting to have you also to show how pilot actions can work in the context of Interreg Europe project. So maybe this is more for insiders also, but to see what is possible in the framework of Interreg Europe project and the pilot to be done in the pilot action. So Alessio, we might get back with one or two questions at the end of the meeting, but for now, I think we should move to our third presentation to Anders in Sweden. I mentioned the peer reviews before, and I got to know Anders and the practice he will present in the framework of a peer review, actually. So
yep.
February, I think, in Bourgogne, Franche-Comté. Anders, I give the floor to you to introduce yourself and your Mind the Gap good practice.
Thank you, Luke. Can you hear me well?
Yes, it works well.
Yeah. Well, hello from Sweden. Well, it's running up to 30 degrees here, which is hot for Sweden, but not as hot as in Spain or Italy, I assume. Yeah, I was part of a peer review in February. We've been working on this topic that I'm going to talk about for a few years. It started in the Interreg project in the North Sea some 5 years ago. We have developed it further since then. We now work with it as a good practice in the Skylab project that Luke mentioned in the beginning, sort of another Interreg project that we're running at the moment. It's interesting to hear the different examples that we have today. We have, it's important with good strategies like the one from Ireland, and it's good to have a geographical approach from Italy. What I'm going to talk about is something I say completely different. It's focusing on more of a bottom up, trying to help SMEs transform their businesses to be more competitive in the future. It can be used anywhere. Will you bring my presentation up, Vladimir?
Yeah.
Or Luke?
We can do that. Vladimir, can you do it? Or yeah, I think it's Vladimir starting.
There we go. I had really difficulties getting into this meeting, but it worked out in the end. All right, I'll talk about Mind the Gap, which then we use as a good practice in the Skylab project. It's an example of how SMEs can define their business goals and their need for skills, because we need to put skills in the center of a business transformation. That's the key here. Business first, but focus on skills. All right, so I'll tell you about Mind the Gap, a little bit, and then I also want to put it in a context in the end. I mean, it's a good tool. It's been used on about 400 SMEs, but of course, it doesn't solve all the problems. But I'll try to talk about that in the end. So next slide, please. You can move forward to the 3 bullets there, please. Yeah. So a little brief background. We talked to many SMEs in the beginning. We noticed a limited capacity in these small companies, especially, to actually strategically plan for the future need of skills. They simply don't have time to sit down and plan for the future because they're busy running their daily operations, which is of course understandable, but they need to do just this to stay ahead in the future, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to create a tool that might help them with that. Part of this background is also that we have a well-developed business ecosystem. I'm sure you have the same in your regions. Business support organizations that are really good at helping SMEs, small companies, to formulate their business goals, but they have no proper tools to actually talk or methods to talk about how they talk about the skills of the future, and this is what we tried to combine here. I also put up as a limited ability of the education system to respond to changes in the economy this is not part of Mind the Gap itself, but universities and other training facilities, schools they're too slow to meet the demands of SMEs in a change. So that's an important part of this. We're not going to solve that here, but I wanted to mention it anyway. So please take the next slide. All right, this is how we describe Mind the Gap in short. The key here, I mean, it's a digital tool, but we recommend that you use a facilitator, an external, someone external to facilitate, to walk the management team through a structured dialogue, ending up with an action plan. There are 2 workshops. The first one where you formulate your business goals. This is done in every business all over. You do this at one point or another. And the second workshop is to talk about the skills you need. The key here is that we put business first, but if you simply ask an SME today what kind of skills they need for tomorrow, they're going to base that answer on the business today, and then we're going to end up on the wrong foot, because you need to ask the company what kind of business are you having, or do you want to have in 2 years maybe, and what kind of skills do you need then. That's the trick of the whole thing. It sounds easy, and it is very easy, but it's very important to do this. That's the whole thing. I guess you could do this by yourself in a company, but we decided to recommend that you use a facilitator, someone from the outside. I'm going to show you a little video in the end, illustrating that. All right, so 2 workshops, 3 + 3 hours, something like that. So you can go ahead. Thank you, Vladimir. Because I want to do another way of explaining this, which I find quite useful. And if you narrow it down a little bit to putting the management team and the current employees in the center. When I talk about SMEs, I should have said that in the beginning. It's usually we talk about companies from 20 to 100 employees. So it's not it's very small companies, and it's not the big ones either. So somewhere in between there, because those are the ones that we need to that need to grow, that need to support, contribute to the economy as we see it. All right. So change. I'm sure that an SME, a CEO in a small company, can formulate his or her business goals by himself, and get the staff, management team, and the employees to buy into that. That's quite easy, but it's not doesn't work that way all the time. If you take the next picture, please. The next slide, please. Oh, there you go. Thank you. You can put forward. I don't know why it does this. Move forward. Yeah. Oh, too much. There you go. So what I'm trying to illustrate here is that you need to, as a CEO of a small company, or the management team of a small company, needs to get involved in forming your business needs of the future in a certain way that you involve the management team, involve the employees, and so that they will start from the same point. And understand and accept the business goals. Then you start working on the skills needs, because that will, in the end, take you to the right place. All right. This is how we see it. Anyway, I'm gonna soon end up giving the floor to a CEO in a company talking about this video that we're gonna try to show. But trying to put this together in a summary or a context, this is how we try to. This is the map that we're using. We have, of course, the SME and the employees, which is the most important asset, in the center, marked by the green here. That seems the video is working anyway. That's good. be in a second. So we have the SMEs, we have the facilitators working Mind the Gap. And Mind the Gap, I should say, it's free of use for anyone. It's in Swedish and English. And it could be translated into different languages as well. What we try to do as well at home is use business support organizations, trade unions, other SMEs that have tried this to be ambassadors of the tool to spread the word. I talked, as Luke mentioned, I talked about this in France. I talked about this in Germany, in Scotland, in Holland, and in many places in Sweden. It seems to be a good tool. It's certainly a lot of people asking about it and wanting to try it. So, and it's easy enough, I would say, and a catchy name. Anyway, the important thing here is, if we're going to wrap up, is that we have to look what comes out of Mind the Gap. Because you will get an action plan in the end, where you can sort of target what kind of skills you need, the skill supplies. You can target what kind of or upskilling you need to do. And you can actually target in the long term, the raising of awareness among kids in school that would sort of help you in the long run. So different things you can do, but you will get an action plan to this. Recently, I've started, this is a process. We keep working on this tool. We've been working on it for years. Recently, I've added two circles, the before and after here, the red circles there, as I try to illustrate it, because there's a lot of companies out there in my region, in your regions, that they run a good business, they make money, they have happy customers, but they will still have to do a business transformation in order to stay ahead in the future. I don't have the answers here, but we have to get some of these, I'm afraid to say a lot of these small companies, a sense of urgency in how to transform their business, do the twin transition that we talk about, explain the word twin transition, explain what they have to do to go green, to go digital. That's an issue. I don't have the answers to that, but I think that's very important. And then they can move into, using Mind the Gap or something else to get an action plan. And then after Mind the Gap, you actually need to walk the talk. You can't just get an action plan and put it on the shelf. So again, I don't have the answers here, but we need to put the SMEs in contact with the universities, the schools, vocational educational training facilities. And that's a work that needs to be done as well. And then finally, we don't have time to talk about that, but maybe next time, employer branding. I think we need to help the SMEs to be seen as attractive, seen as a place where they want to go. Because if you want to attract talents from close by or far away, you need to show them that they have good training opportunities, a good salary, a work-life balance, etc. I'm not going to go into this, but I think that's the topic for tomorrow. We need to talk more about this. Since we're short of time, I'm going to give you, Pia. Pia is the head of a small business that they make different sorts of weed pesticides. Right, it's a small company, but the story she's telling is pretty good. And make note of a guy in the background here. He's got big tattoos up here. He's in the warehouse in the background of the movie, because he's part of the success story that we're trying to show here. Because before they did Mind the Gap and started, they brought in a consultant, facilitator from industrial center in southern Sweden. They no one had asked him. He worked there for 15 years, and no one asked him what he does in spare time. He was a computer whiz, it turned out. Now he's doing something completely different in the company. That's an example of what's going to happen if you get someone in, work with Mind the Gap, and end up with an action plan, I'll give you Pia. And there'll be subtitles to it.
Intressera oss i detta. Ja, men det är ett jättespännande koncept det här med Mind the Gap. Vi har kontakter inom IUC som intresserar oss i detta. Och jag blev eld och lågor. Jag tyckte det var så spännande och tänkte att det här måste vi genomföra med min ledningsgrupp. Japaprodukter är ett familjeföretag som startades 1984 av min pappa Pelle af Klinteberg. I Hässleholm har vi produktutveckling, vi har produktion, vi har lager och totalt är vi 15 anställda på Japaprodukter. Arbetet med Mind the Gap var väldigt strukturerat och väldigt kreativt samtidigt. Vi hade 2 workshoppar. Vi jobbade med Joakim Enqvist där vi hade ett antal olika frågor som vi jobbade oss igenom. Och att få en utomstående som hjälper en och pushar en och triggar en i nya vinklar är väldigt värdefullt. För man får nya insikter som vi kanske inte har identifierat själva. Så det var väldigt värdefullt att få den här extra i rummet till att hjälpa oss att identifiera och kartlägga. Arbetet med Mind the Gap har hjälpt oss att identifiera medarbetare som har mer potential än den rollen som man jobbar med idag. Det har ju uppmärksammat den organisationen om hur viktigt det är med kompetensutveckling i företaget och att man väver in det också i medarbetarsamtal och uppföljning och så vidare så att det inte kommer från chefshåll vilken utbildning man behöver eller kompetensförstärkning man behöver utan det även kommer från medarbetarna. Och det är fantastiskt roligt att se en medarbetare som blommar upp i en helt ny roll. Så ta hjälpen med att jobba med Mind the Gap för det är väldigt, väldigt värdefullt. Det kostar bara din tid.
Yeah, that was it for me. I'm glad that I can bring Pia with me and all these different trips in Europe.
Thank you, Anderson. You helped us to maintain the gender balance, Trails mentioned, I think, at the beginning. So
How about that?
Mart, do we have some question at this stage? I like the very short presentation. I knew you would. Yeah. Go on.
We have clarification about the internet target group for the service or the tool. So the question is it only for starting entrepreneurs or also suitable for students who have an entrepreneurial dream or idea?
Yeah, it's a good question. I try to answer that in my presentation in a way that we usually target a bit larger companies. I mean, we're still talking SMEs, but they need to have reached maybe 10 employees, that they have an HR, head of HR or something like that, that they're up and running and want to grow and employ more people. The first part of Mind the Gap can be used for startups, for students. That's really nothing new. It's a business model canvas, sort of. It's been used in many different ways. That can be used for startups. If they want to grow, if they want to employ more people, or if they have plans of doing that in the future, then they should do the workshop number 2 as well.
Thank you for the clarification.
Hmm?
Maybe another question then is about the, you mentioned that the workshop should be run by external. Have you also developed like templates or toolkits for such external facilitators?
Once you log in there and anyone can log in, register, and once you log in, there's a step-by-step guide that will help you through this. Of course, someone within the company can do this. Sometimes that works better, but my experience is that bringing someone from the outside will sort of mirror what you do in a better way. But it's individual. So once you log in, you get a step-by-step run through on how you should go through these 2 workshops. I have to say too, this is a work in progress. If any of you have any questions or maybe some good tips on how to improve this, please let me know.
It's a good one. Yeah, thank you, Anders. So this is interesting because there are many of those tools existing, but you seems to have reached some kind of level of awareness at least, and so that's interesting to build on it.
Catch a name.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe just one question, last question here. Did you see some main topics emerging from those discussions? Do you have a feedback, let's say, like accumulating the results to try on the regional level to understand, oh, here there is an issue here, or there is a trend here, there is something happening there?
Sure. Yeah, we are trying to do that now. I wish I had done that earlier, but we tried to retrieve all the action plans of these 400 companies that tried Mind the Gap, and then you'll see patterns. We did a test just a month ago for the 120 of these companies, and get a list of skills they have listed in their action plans. It's not always a profession; it could also be a talent, or something. But so it's kind of difficult to work with this data. But once you managed how to do that, then you can see some trends. And if you have 400 companies and you have 200 in 200 action plans, you'll find the need for back-end programmers. Then that's something you can tell to the university in the region, move up, step up here and do something about this, because this is what the companies need. We can see these trends in a way, but we need to do more Mind the Gap workshops to verify it in a proper way.
Okay, thank you. That's good. We are coming close to the end. I said I would maybe ask just our speaker one final question. So I start with you, Anders, because you are here already looking at us, and then I get back to Alessio in a minute. If you're looking ahead, do you already have an idea or feeling what the main challenges for let's say sustaining transformation momentum will be in the coming 5 years? Or do you see some issues? I take an example. In Germany, I'm working with different economic development initiatives, and right now there is many of them, like in the automotive industry, they don't know exactly, because they wait, oh, there is this changing, there is the regulation changing, there is Trump, there is the tax, and we're not going to transform before we know in which direction, and it's slowing down things. But do you see what are the challenges ahead of us?
Yeah, well, a good but difficult question.
Yeah.
I've heard this for many years now. I've heard that there's companies, they don't find the right skills to develop their company, and yet there had not been a lot of companies that are out of business. They're still managing how to do this. So maybe it's not always about the skills they need. They manage anyway, up to a point, I'd say, because we need hands, we need people, of course, people doing different things that they did before, but the companies will still need people. And so I think we try to get the companies to realize that there's changes that need to be made. Sort of that I talked about, sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Get more companies to realize this, then the market will adapt. I understand that they have to beware of new legislation and all that, but get the sense of urgency out of the companies that they need to change.
I tend to agree with this one. I hear this. We have this a lot with the company discuss. Always done like this. It always worked like this. Yeah.
Up to a point.
Up to a point. Thank you, Anders. Alessio or Ian, do you have maybe just 1 minute, some idea? So what are the challenges ahead?
Yeah, so I would support what was said by Anders in the sense that I'm referring to the tourism sector of our region.
Yeah.
So, of course, I mean, building up skills is something absolutely important for us. The operators are asking for that. They need skills in order to understand what are the innovative trends, the most innovative trends, and how to catch up with technology, for instance, which is key. I mean, in the tourism sector, but also it's not just a matter of skills. It's also a matter of I think building up synergies, as I've showed, because by working together you can innovate, of course, even in senses that you weren't thinking about. And also, I think examples is very important. I mean, good examples, success stories. It's really important to raise up the spirits of tourism tour operators.
Yeah.
Exactly, to understand what is possible, what is feasible, what has been done already abroad, for instance. So
thank you,
that would be,
Alessio.
yeah.
Thank you. Good input. Jan, there. So closing.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm agreeing with Anders. In a very interesting space he's working in, something similar to what the strategy is working with in terms of primary producers and farmers and fishers. We all know that people are very diverse, and Anders, I'm sure, with his interaction with the SME sectors, everyone is different, and it's, I suppose, creating that space for everyone to adapt and innovate, and maybe putting funding towards that space and projects like Mind the Gap to assist people innovate in a large scale manner, so you get that actual transformational change on a broad basis. That'd be our overall objective. Be great.
Thank you, Jan. That will be almost our closing words also. So we don't have much time for final presentations, but thank you all for the presentations that were very, very interesting. Very comprehensive approaches. We've seen sectoral approach and a completely different approach from Anders, and it was on purpose to say there is the strategic approach on all sector, but is also the, let's say, the bottom up approach to transformation, and it was done on purpose actually. So so you will be I mentioned it's been recorded, and you will receive, once we publish the article and the key learnings, you will get the information via email automatically to all the people registered, and it will be public on our website. So and when the website closes, also there will be a short pop-up, also a satisfaction questionnaire, which we would be grateful if you could take just a moment to answer it. It's quite short. And we all. So I will not be longer. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, John. Thank you, Alessio. Thank you, Anders, for being with us. Thank you for all to join our event. And hopefully we meet again online or on-site in other thematic events of the Policy Learning Platform or at a peer review. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day. Have a nice summer. Bye-bye.